Yeah, start over again, please.
Whoops.
All
Let me,
right. Right now, Bruce is going over, we're talking about artificial intelligence and how to properly use that to help us in our businesses. Go ahead, Bruce.
okay, so I'm just jumping into my chat GPT here, and what I told it to do is act as an expert online entrepreneur who has created many online courses and is very successful in lead generation and converting leads into sales. So its response, of course, I'd be happy to share some insights as an expert online entrepreneur. And it gave out, several different steps, key strategies that have contributed to my success. It's just like identify your niche, high quality content, build your personal brand, lead generation. And so now as I refined that and said, okay, your task is to create a $1 million business funnel that upsells online courses beginning at $99. So it gave a whole step-by-step thing on the lead generation, your first course, and upselling, and it gets really elaborate. But one of the keys that I've learned and have been taught is you have to give it that act as whatever type of expert you want it to give you advice on. And what I do is I create a separate thread within ChatGPT for each one of my experts. Like I've got one that I've defined as act as a mindset expert, one act as a communication expert, and one is act as a wellness expert. And whenever I'm wanting to create any content for a post or brainstorming on that particular topic, I'll go into that chat thread and I save that within ChatGPT. And another one I've given the task as being my personal assistant with all of my and fed it in the information about my personal and business background, work background, and everything else. But one of the things again is it's all about how you instruct it to act, and that's going to determine the quality of content, the response that it gives you.
This week for me, what I've been playing around with was, just to give you an idea, I said, give me the top 5 trending topics in investing. Boom. The top 5 trends investing are da 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 da. And then I would come back and I would say, give me a 3-sentence description for each one of those topics above. Yep. Okay. It would come back, restate it, give me that. And then I would tell it, create a Facebook post with a call to action to engage my readers. And then it would take each one of those. Okay. So we've got that. Next, I said, create a YouTube video outline that I can use. You know what? Boom, boom, boom. Create a catchy headline title for each. And so it would go, and I just kept going and kept going until it would niche down till I got exactly what I wanted. And then I could change it anyway, and sometimes it gets tired of you and it'll say, you can do these just like the other. And I said, no, I want you to continue. And it would continue to give me more. Now, this was on the Bard AI. Thank you, Gary, for telling me I was saying it wrong. I couldn't. Go ahead.
And one of the things when you're having it give you a script to do a video, you need to further define before you give it any instructions, is define what the ultimate, how you're going to use it. I want a script that I am reading this to the video. And or if you're having an interview style, you need to specify that this is an interview style video where I am the expert being interviewed, and I want a set of questions that the host would be answering me and I want it scripted out, that type of thing. You really need to get down to very specific details on that in order for it to map out, you know, the way you really want.
Right, right. Well, I just love it. I've got a notebook full. I've went through a ream of paper just in getting ideas and all that. And then that's not all. There's more. I then, for each Facebook post that you have created above, give me an idea for an image that I can use.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay. And so you could have you know, a couple fighting over money, you know, or, you know, whatever the deal was. They would give me all these different ideas. And so some of them, what I noticed on Bard versus AI, the Chat GPT, was Bard occasionally will pull up like an article with a photo. Well, I'm not wanting that because I'm wanting to put it over in my notebook so that I can highlight and figure out what I want to cut and paste and all that. And so when it would pop up like that, I would just simply say, I need you to remove any images in that last response. And then it would delete the image and just give me the text. But it's just like anything else. You have to make sure that your instructions that you're giving it is clear. And if you mess up, it's okay.
Yeah,
you know,
you need
go back and say, go ahead.
one of the keys to refining the output is to give feedback to the AI, which whatever one you're using. You say, that's really good. Can you expand on item number 3 or whatever? And this is and do that. Or, oh, that's not quite what I was after. Let me clarify what I wanted. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, whatever. You know? But I mean, so that's one of the ways that it refines and improves itself.
Well, I love that. And one of the things that yes, Barry, go ahead.
No, finish your sentence.
Well, one of the things that I found is under alternative investments, which a lot of our stuff is, I didn't realize there was like, I think 23 different ones that I plan on going through. And there's some categories that I've never even heard of, didn't even know that option myself was available. And I look forward to kind of digging into that. So, you know, there's a lot of pluses here to get your mind going. It's not that it's taking place of you, but it's giving you some prompts and some ideas of some things that you might not even have thought about. Because, you know, in my training for the social media, they're kind of giving me a formula of what to do, you know, like so many personals, so many Facebook lives, you know, family posts or, you know, whatever. And it's hard, you know, especially for the Facebook lives. You got to have a plan. I mean, you can't just, I mean, a lot of people don't. They just hop on there. Oh, yeah, I was thinking about whatever. Well, that's not the way that I roll. I really want to be organized and want people to be able to follow me and know what it is that I'm going to be talking about. And so that takes some planning, you know, even just to do one a day that you feel like you're really giving people value. And for me personally, it's been tough because I'll post a video and I can see how many views. Nobody maybe comment, but then people will send me, and I've said this a million times. I don't know if it's because it's finances we're talking about or what, but it's like they won't comment or say nothing, but they'll hit me up on Messenger or they'll send me a text message or they'll call me on the phone about it. That's not helping my algorithm. I mean, well, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's working. Obviously it's working, but they're too scared to do anything.
They don't want anybody else to know that they're maybe struggling or something like that.
Yeah, well, and it's not even struggling. I mean, it's just, you know, investing or, you know, whatever the topic might be. I'm just finding that across the board on this particular, for me personally, but I'm just like, this is just funny to me. Go ahead, Barry. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let's get Barry.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to input being on a international event with who was purported to be a renowned technology expert. We all know that ChatGPT, its foundation, ended in 2021. And Google hijacks whatever it can. There's a AI, which is Claude, CLAUDE.ai, which surpasses all of those. So you might want to give that a try.
Okay, I'll do that this week.
Yeah, I've heard of Claude. Yeah, this isn't, I guess they've been expanding the knowledge base on the Chat GPT as well. But one of the big things, then we even talked about it, at Big Table this last week, is whatever output is generated, no matter what AI you're using, you need to verify that it's
Yes.
accurate before you post it or anything, because they had some attorney that used, I don't know if it was Chat GPT or one of them anyway, to come up with help them with this case that they were working on. And it cited some, previous case law, right? It made it up. It doesn't exist. And the judge had a recess to verify that, and it didn't exist. So he came back, dismissed the case, and that attorney was disbarred.
That was GPT. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well,
that type of thing is
well,
what
yeah.
you
Well,
need to verify.
Dr.
Yeah.
Dr. Scott Dell, several months ago, I was on a call with him, and he is a CPA and he also is a college professor. And he is working with a group of researchers because of that. And it is just, they have discredited all of this stuff, in that field. It is crazy important that you make sure that you get all those things correct. Now,
Yeah.
not all of us, like for me, I'm using this to kind of give me ideas and buffers and all that. So I wouldn't be affected as much as an attorney, a CPA, or
Right.
somebody who could really, get into big trouble.
Yeah, and one of the other things that also learned that and it's going to be interesting. My flight lands like 5 minutes to 5 if everything is on schedule tonight, and at 5 o'clock I've got an online training that's this ongoing thing for AI, and this one is to how to utilize that in writing a book. And last month they mentioned that they've already, several governments have already ruled that the output from this generated by any AI, you cannot copyright that. However, the prompt that is used to create the AI assistant, the prompt can be copywritten. And it's then with any of the digital art that's created, that's all public domain, right? So you cannot copyright the digital art that's generated on these AIs. However, if you manually alter certain parts of the image, you can copyright those particular spots on the image that you altered, but you can't copyright the whole image. They're getting into all kinds of crazy stuff that you've got to be aware of for any of the AI generated content that you're trying to publish. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And, trying to track that stuff and everything else be an absolute nightmare. And who cares? Everything changes on a daily basis, and I don't even worry about copyrights anymore. Everything I would write, I would do that. And then I would worry about, sending my money in to do this or that. I don't even deal with that no more. It's not even worth the time for me, because by, next week, the information is going to be obsolete anyways. Jeffrey, you want to tell us about Ruby, what you're doing with Ruby?
No, I don't. I want to tell you about something else.
Okay.
I was using Chat GPT for a while, but I just got frustrated with, they don't have anything past 2021. And and Barry just clarified what happened. So I'm glad I got out of that. But I'm using Ruby. I love it right now. I'm still learning it. I'm doing Saturday trainings. But what I did want to say is that through a networking event, I met this woman who is about ADA compliance, and that's the American Disabilities Act. And there is a woman. Well, first of all, do you know that our websites are supposed to be ADA compliant? And if they're not, you can get sued for not being compliant with the ADA. So that's number one. And if you don't know that, I'm actually going to a webinar on Tuesday to learn about this, especially with so many people doing internet services and products and services. So I will bring that to the group next time, just to bring some awareness and see what do we really, what we have to really do. Because she told me that there was a woman here in Florida that sued 5 companies who had websites that were not stamped with an ADA compliance certificate, and she won the lawsuit.
Yeah, that's what's interesting is I've heard of that, a couple year or two ago.
Oh,
Ellie
okay.
definitely kind of touched on that, but she said that the websites don't have to have a certification stamp.
Mhm.
They just have to be configured so that the different people that are using these special readers for websites, that the website can be interpreted and used by that reader, in that, like, all of your images, you have to have alt text on all of your images describing what that image is, as well as the text has to be set up as a text versus an image of text,
Oh, gotcha.
so that the reader can actually read
Right,
the,
right.
that. I mean, so those are some of the things that that they mentioned, but I don't know what all of the details are. But they said you don't have to go through a certification thing. It's just you have to. Your website cannot have anything that impedes their
Their
reader.
ability to, yeah, okay. Well, I'll know on Tuesday a little bit more
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll look forward to learning and see what the latest greatest on that is. That's just,
Yeah.
stuff that you don't even,
Right.
think about. I mean, I still am amazed that when I, pull up to an ATM machine that there's Braille on there.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just like, I guess some way they get there. I could see that, but it just some of that stuff is just a little weird to me, on how that works. But anyways, obviously we want as many people, that we can doing business with us, and we want to be compliant and doing all the right things. So do we have any other information that we would like to share on artificial intelligence, how you've seen people using it, how you
Well,
plan
I
on
use,
maybe use it? Go ahead.
yeah, I mainly use it, and we even talked about that at Big Table, is for brainstorming ideas and just expanding on something, for giving suggestions on, different ways of diving deeper. But they also cautioned, be careful. You never want to enter any personal identifiable information in any AI, because it becomes public domain. And so you just got to be really careful. You don't share your social security number, your driver's license, your credit cards, nothing personal data goes into AI. But
Speaking of which, thank you, Barry. I had my got my passport card in last week, and I posted that picture, and I put quarters on the information. So I thought I had it hid, and I didn't see that other number in the top right corner. And Barry caught that for me. He sent me a message. He said, take that down. It's got your information. People can hack into that. I'm like, I thought I had it all covered up. And I went back, and sure enough, there it was. And I thought that was interesting. If y'all didn't know about that, I ordered the big, thick passport cards with more pages in it, because the other one I had run out. And it took me right at, I don't remember, it was either 6 or 7 weeks, just like they said. I ordered the expedited passport, got that in, and then they didn't have my passport card with it. That came in a day or two later, but it was a really pretty, look like your driver's license card. And what that is available for is sea and land only. I can use that if I'm going to Canada or Mexico, the Bahamas, or I think Bermuda, not Puerto Rico. But anyways, so if I'm on a cruise and I go to one of those destinations, I don't necessarily, which I'll have both of them, but I show them that card, and it's like kind of like a fast pass at Disney World is what I'm thinking, because it showed a picture, and you go up and you tap that thing. So I'm thinking that'll be like a fast pass that you can just go right on through. And if you're driving, but if you are flying in a plane, it's not going to work. You have to have your passport if you're using, you know, a flight to go somewhere. But just for land and sea, you can do that. And then one of my friends from back home, she said on her last several cruises, she has never ever had to use her passport. She was able just to use her birth certificate, or they either didn't even ask. And so that was really wild. It's like, I don't ever want to get caught out like that, you know, because some of the locations they said, especially like Bahamas, it was, you know.
Well, every cruise that I, like the Alaska cruise, they said because they stop in Canada, it's an international stop. So if you're getting on and off on any, you know, any other country than when you departed from, like left the US, getting on and off in Alaska, we didn't need to worry about the passport, but in Canada, you did. So
Right.
that's one of the differences there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's been like all over. So it wasn't just like a US or a Canada thing. And I thought, huh, isn't that interesting? And I said, well, she's going with me on that cruise in April. And she's like, oh no, I've got my passport. Everything is good. I'll have it and all that. I said, yeah, you don't want to ever get caught out like that and not have the right documentation. Go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, I want to come back to a comment that Jeffrey made about ADA. Jeffrey, I'm up here in Canada, and I just Googled putting in a question to Google, is there anything comparable in Canada for ADA? Nothing came up, except if you have a physical building, it has to have some kind of physical accommodation for people who have some kind of physical disability.
Well,
So
make sure when you're asking that Google search that you clarify that it's for websites.
I did.
Websites in Canada. Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Nothing came up. So here's my question. If I have a freebie, which is a URL, and I have an American who has a disability, click on it, and it's not ADA compliant, can she sue me? Even though it's not a full website, it's just a freebie.
Put that down in your questions and ask on your training, Jeffrey.
Yeah, no, I will. I'm gonna say that right now, a big percentage of people don't even know about this. It's a law that's been out there for a number of years. I'm gonna get more details on that specificity. But yeah, I will reach out and you know, how can I as an entrepreneur, we as entrepreneurs, protect ourselves so we don't have this idiot who's probably going out to every single website that's out there and filing a lawsuit without any warning. And the thing is, there was no warning. They were given a summons to go to court to be sued, and she won. So, and these people had no clue about this law. So, yep, I'll find out. I'll get it back.
And then my
Wow.
second question to that is, so I have a website, www.marshallcoeur.com, under my name.
Right.
Could somebody sue me, even though I'm not an American and my website is not ADA compliant here in Canada? Like,
Yeah.
that's very scary for me. When you
Yeah,
brought that up,
this is an international issue. It's not just US.
I
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
it's really something to be aware
Because
of.
if it's an American trying to access any other country's website, I think they have some sort of recourse, but it's not as clean cut as if it's a US website with a US person that's filing the complaint. But
I know, but it could set a precedent. I mean, Jeffrey, it's, you know, this woman you're
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
won all her lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what she told me. This woman, she found out through this woman that she learned about this ADA compliance regulation. Found out that there was a woman in Florida who sued 5 companies here in Florida specifically. So,
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. There's, oh gosh, what's it called? GSP or something for European Union. They've got this thing in place that if you don't comply with their online sales requirements, you can be fined. Even if you're in the US, if you have someone from Europe that's trying to do business on your website and it's not compliant with European requirements, you can be fined. So there's all kinds of other
Yeah,
online marketing things that people don't know about.
right. Yep, this is very, very true.
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And again,
Sure.
I look forward to, that's how we all learn, whatever's going on out there, we need to know about it. And then last week, I wanted to remind you that I learned about the WISE payment processor for international folks, because, I've been using Cash App here in the US now for folks to send me money or crypto or, Bitcoin through that or crypto through my wallets. And I used the WISE, and I haven't got my card in yet. I ordered that, and there was a fee for that, but I was able to receive money, and it came in, like it said it would, and I was able to transfer that over into my bank account. No problem. It came in the next day. It wasn't like automatic, you know what I'm saying? But it was like the next day, and it was very, very affordable. So I have a link. I put that in our Facebook group. So that might be something, to consider versus the PayPal. I'm totally off PayPal. I am like anti PayPal right now because they're, holding my money. And I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating, y'all. That last notice I got said they was going to start holding, or not start, they did. If for this transaction, they would hold my money for 30 days. I've never had any cashbacks. I've never had any like problems, like people, for refunds, like none of that stuff ever on my account.
Yeah, they're
And
starting to
because-
act more like actual merchant, like Stripe. They do this similar thing in that they will hold your money in reserve in case there's any
a refund. Yeah.
And if you
But
have
I could see if you
higher
had a
than-
history.
if you have higher than normal transactions coming through, they will hold back even more funds because of its unusual activity.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's
Well, I don't, I've used Stripe like maybe 2 times the whole entire time, just simply because they hold your money, and I don't like that. It's my money. I want it. It was sent to me, so give it to me. It's mine. You already got your fee. I
Yep.
paid you a fee for doing the service, so you're not going to, do that to me. So anyways, that's something that I wanted to remind you that I put on there. So that's something that you could look at on the WISE card. And then the last topic that I wanted to talk about is our masterminds and how we want to operate this, because this is going to be something kind of new that we're doing. And so I'm going to turn the recorder off. And for those of you who might be listening on the YouTube channel, the Passive Income Generators YouTube, I'm over my 100, but now I'm working towards 500. So go to Passive Income Generators. I've turned that into a money channel for Passive Income Generators, and go in there and hit the subscribe button.
And before you turn off the recording, I have something to share that regarding social media.
Okay, go right ahead.
Like Facebook, aka Meta, because Facebook and also they control Facebook and Instagram and that. But they just recently started not just filtering, but deleting contents and comments with any links that are subdomains, such as if it was yourname.referralpartners.com. Okay, that whatever's before the referralpartner.com, that dot in front of it, right? If they're treating that as scammers, and anything that they're finding, they were just breaking, because we're running into this on some other things that I'm involved with. and they found that it was breaking the link. Now they're not just breaking the link, they're actually deleting your content. And they say if you do it too often, they're turning off your Facebook account. So what they're doing is like there's different sites that allow you within their platform, create a custom, have your own website domain that's tied to their, whatever your name domain.com. So, but it's within the platform versus what I just encountered this the other day is I have one that it's kind of a long URL that I would be sharing. So I thought, okay, I grabbed my own domain name and I created my own subdomain, like meeting.brucebk.com. That got, when I shared that, some of the people that I shared it with got notified that this is potentially a scammer, that's deceitful practices because it's being redirected to this other website because I'm using on my DNS records, I'm actually having it just forward over to this other website. So those type of things, social media is really cracking down on, and not sure how because this is affecting a lot of affiliate marketing out there. So I don't know what they're going to be addressing on that. So anything that you have your own, like within Melaleuca or any of these other company Isogenics and that, where we have that type of subdomain potentially being used, there's something to be aware of.
Yeah.
And something that I noticed also on Facebook, where before it would, when I would do the Facebook Live, it would say like never delete.
Right.
That would give me an option. Well, all this week, every Facebook Live it said it will be deleted after 30 days. It didn't even give me that option.
Well, I actually had one of those that popped up and say it'll be deleted within 30 days. And then it gave me the option to say, don't delete.
Oh, well, I'll
Yeah.
pay a little bit closer attention just to see,
Yeah,
but I did not see that. And then something else that I learned and on there is you want to have a description on your Facebook Lives, even if it's like a headline, or something that's going to grab attention, because if you don't, you can't go back and fix that. But if you put even just 2 words in there, when you go onto your Facebook, I can go in there and edit that. Like this morning, I had like a little bit, like a little headline, and I was able to open it up and go in and put a paragraph in what I wanted to say, like it was a regular post with my Facebook Live. But if you don't put anything up there, like it's when you go Facebook Live, and then it'll give you an option to put title or something like that. Just put something there so that you can edit that later or whatever. Otherwise you're not. And then something else that I noticed is on some of my Facebook Lives, I could see how many views when I was on my phone, and some I cannot see. But when I go to my desktop, I can click on it and I can see the views up there on my right hand side when it pulls itself out as another tab. I can see my views there. So that's something I don't really know why that is, but on some of mine, I could see the numbers, some that I couldn't. And then there was another thing that I noticed on that was every one of my Facebook Lives, they created a story out of it, I guess, automatically.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware that that was going on. And then you can click on that and you can see who has, viewed it or whatever. I guess it's just that first little bit, but I wasn't aware that they was going to do that. So I am now. So I need to make that first, impactful anyways. But any other comments before we change the subject here on
Jeffrey had his hand up first.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I keep getting my hand slapped. It keeps going down, down, down. You're not talking, so. But I wanted to ask, follow up on, thanks, Barry. Bruce, when you talk about these links, is it in your, on your wall and your personal comments when you share
Yeah,
information?
right now, this is, and I guess it's, they're expanding, but it's certain websites that links that they're focusing on, but they're expanding it. But it's any link that has your
That-
name dot whatever
Dot something,
domain,
okay,
and it's whether it's in the post or a comment.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
And
thank
it
you.
says it's not, and they're not giving any warning. They're just saying your content has been deleted for
Wow.
violation of
Well,
whatever.
because, you know, and everybody's using, because it's powerful and everybody's using it and being successful. So here we are. You'd think that they would want, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, so Bruce, my landing page, which I pay for, is barrycolton.com.
Hmm.
And it takes it somewhere else. Are you telling me that that's not going to be allowed?
Depending on
Or
how it's
where
forwarding,
I got my link tree, link tr.ee
Yeah.
/ Barry Colton.
Me too.
That's
so
not going to be allowed. I'm completely out of business then.
well, so that's what I mean. It depends on how it's being forwarded. If you're using where your website records are, your DNS records, if
My landing page
using
on
a
Facebook.
if you're using a forwarding there, that's what they're looking at. So depending on how you've got your website forwarded, and then that one, because it's just your name.com being forwarded, right now they're not looking at that. It's when you have another subdomain in front of it, like what I got my brucebk.com, and that's forwarding to my Be Connected affiliate page, right? Well, I created my own subdomain as meeting.brucebk.com. That's what's being looked at right now, is where any links that have a subdomain in front, they're following it through to see where is this going. So if the DNS record is forwarding it automatically, that's their first target right now, that they're deleting content.
Good to know. Good to know.
Okay. Now we can go to the mastermind.
That's okay. The second Friday of the month, we
Don't
want to
forget, you still
start.
have your recording on.
I know it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of say a little intro here. We're going to start holding real live masterminds, and we want to let people come in and discuss business ideas. I want that to be one of the categories where they can discuss. But then for us and anybody else, I want you to be able to bring your business issues in here and let us help you flesh those out, brainstorm a little bit like we do, and have this a little bit more formal. So if you know anybody who's experiencing anything, you know, this is a great time to invite them to come in, and we'll let them come in one time for free and see how many people that we can help and encourage them to join our team. So we're going to discuss that just a little bit. But anyways, I'm going to sign off on the recording for now, and then we're going to have a little discussion.